Yeah, this was something right here.
All right, welcome to the first episode of No One Can Agree. Uh, I'll be your moderator, Joe Love. On the panel with me, we have Tech, Judge, Allen, and Nino. We're going to kick this off. Today, we're going to be discussing college. Is it worth it? Is it broken? Is the education pipeline broken? Uh, Also, we're going to be discussing the bombing in Manchester and the arms deal that just happened a couple days ago between Donald Trump and Saudi Arabia. Without further ado, I'd like to kick it off. Let's start off with the college topic. Uh, all these guys on the panel are college educated, uh, really good guys, and they have some opinions on whether the institution of college is actually worth the price of admission, and is the actual system broken? So I'm gonna let you guys start it off and let's get right into it.
Okay, I
Well,
guess
I
I'll
can go
start it off.
first.
Go ahead.
uh, Speaking from my own experiences, admitted into college in 2001, tuition was 1900 a semester. My sophomore year, it went up $1,000. And so I remember my professor in social theory, we was discussing this and discussing how it would affect us in the future financially. Because my freshman year, I received all the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant covered my tuition, it just didn't cover my room. So that extra $1,000, the next year, take out a loan. And that was my first loan that I've ever taken out at school. And so
It was
being
probably it was
19,
probably your first loan in life as well, right?
exactly. So being
Yep.
19 years old, taking out a loan, signing for it, seeing all my friends go to the financial aid office and getting a refund check, at that time, it appeared to be the greatest thing ever in life. But little did I know that at years past, that extra $1,000 would be something that I would be paying for another 30 years in life. Um, I feel that now that we have some states that are offering free college for the kids who live in that particular state, but they have to stay a certain amount of years and work in that state. I'm great with that. I wish that was offered back when I was in school, but I think a lot of the kids that are coming up in high school now, they have an idea of what they want to major in, but they don't understand um, the financial part of it that comes with majoring in something. Because if you don't major in something to where you can financially take care of yourself after college, you're gonna be looking pretty sad when those loan people start calling you because they want their money. And so I think what some of the states offering the free college that at community colleges and some four-year schools, that can be beneficial, and I hope other states jump on board. Um, feel a couple years ago that college was going to be crashing for a lot of kids because you had a lot of kids who were not going to college. They were going to like tech schools or just getting a trade because of their parents telling them that, we don't have the money. You probably won't have the money to pay those loans back. And me working in mental health, a lot of the families who I come in contact with that burden of that financial part of their college careers, which is why some of them are not living in the best conditions that they are because they got this big lump sum of money that they got to pay back. If not, it's going to affect their credit score. It affects your credit score. You can't get a car, you can't get a better house, you can't get certain things in life. And so, what I
Can't get
do
a
with the
job
kids that I
sometimes.
mentioned, exactly. So what I do with the kids that I mentor now is I teach them about different jobs that they can possibly major in college to make a decent living. Me, because a lot of kids don't know about those other um, tech degrees, science degrees, agriculture degrees that they can actually make some money off of and actually be able to pay back their student loans. And so hopefully this new transition that we got going now with a lot of states offering a few states that'll trickle down to other states. But um, I really can't say don't go to college because my college experience was great. I do recommend college to a lot of kids that I mentor, but I also tell them that you have to do what's best for you once you get to that age. Financial reasons can play a big part in that, especially kids that don't get scholarships.
So real quick, Alan. So do you believe that the price of admission and the experiences you had in college was worth it?
Um, the experiences I had, yes, but the increase in tuition because it grew every year by a certain percentage. The increase in admission was not worth it because I'm still getting the same education. I'm just paying more. Professors are not making more either with that increase. So where is this money going to? Why is tuition $3, $4, and $5,000 a semester? That's crazy.
All right, let's jump.
Yeah.
Let's jump to you, Tech. What are your thoughts on college, the whole experience, and the cost of it, and is it worth it to you?
So here's my thought on my thought on college. I got an associate's degree. The Pell Grant paid for it. I went to USM. I didn't graduate. I actually switched over to getting associates after being at USM, mainly because I was taking the same classes, and also people were graduating and not getting jobs from USM in the field that I was wanting to go into. I was in IT. There are people that I knew were graduating out their program that knew less than I did, and I was just doing stuff on the side at home. So I did an applied information technologies program at Holmes in Mississippi, and literally before I graduated, I had a job. Like I did an internship while I was there, and then I literally had somebody walk up to me and be like, "Hey, your instructor said give you a job, so I'm gonna give you a job." That was the most useful thing, the most beneficial thing I'd ever done. And I didn't even pay for that. Pell Grant paid for that. And to this day, like right now, I started working on my bachelor's simply because, since the economy went bad in '08, a lot of people who were flushed out of jobs, and now they've kind of tacked on a bachelor's. They don't hold it against you too much if you got the experience, but it's just another roadblock. So I want to get that out the way and probably go ahead and get my master's. But I say all that to say, if you don't know what you're doing or you want to do in life, it's like college isn't a next step after high school. A lot of people, sadly, a lot of teachers, I think, tell kids, hey, you're smart, go to college and figure out what you want to do. That's not how it should work. If it was free, that's something totally different. College is an investment. You're going to be responsible for paying for it. At the end of the day, it's not nothing to play around with. If you don't know what you need to do or you want to do in life, you shouldn't go. You should work or, do something else until you figure out and get more direction. Ain't no point in paying $3, $4, $10, $20, $30,000 a semester, to figure out what you want to do. And at the end of the day, college doesn't guarantee you a job. So it's an investment, but also it should be combined with experience. Because a lot of y'all probably know this like I know, college don't guarantee you a job. People will hold it against you. They'll prevent you from it'll prevent you from getting a job, but it's not a guaranteed job. At the end of the day, people, I've literally talked to managers and they were saying, like, we don't like hiring young people. They want too much money. They don't have enough experience. They expect too much. They basically want to live a dream. And some of the best places I worked, I was 10 years younger than everybody else there. And it was like literally my experience was the only thing that set me apart, or else they wouldn't have even looked in my direction. So as far as college being worth it, I think if it's presented in the proper context, which is It's not something that'll guarantee you a job. It's a tool to help you become more proficient in what you want to do.
I agree. Judge, let me hear what you got to say on this topic, on this issue. And I know you've done a lot of schooling in your many years.
Yeah, I have actually. Not really a lot of school. Okay, so I got a master's degree. That's first and foremost. But I started out at a tech school. I didn't go to a 4-year university. I went to a tech school, and matter of fact, my master's, everything's in tech schools, period. For-profit schools, and it costs a lot of money to go to. Do I think it's worth it? Hell yeah. Go to college. You better learn how to do something. College or secondary education, learn how to do something. At the end of the day, if you don't know how to do nothing, I don't care what you say, you ain't finna be working for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Unless you know how to pick some berries or as a matter of fact, even working on the house, you gotta know metrics and measurements and weight and math and how to do something. Otherwise, you the one carrying the wood and digging the ditches. You know what I'm saying? So you need to get some secondary education other than high school. Point blank period, ain't no way around it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, do I think the price is going up? Sure it is. It's technology drives up prices. Facilities, expertise, research. It all depends on where you go and what the requirements are that the school has. As you know, the economy is going up. And as long as the economy goes up, so does the price. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it also depends on what they're offering. You know what I'm saying? If they're offering something that nobody else is offering, that's got a dollar value to it. Remember now, people that have the colleges are there to make money, no matter what you say. They're looking to get donations and grants from donors and alumni. And the only way to get that is they've got to graduate people and graduate them in certain fields that generate alumni money.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. So if they're not, for example, like USM, if they're not huge in IT, don't go get an IT degree there. So that means it's onus upon the person, it's onus upon the individual and the family, but it's all, the school is only going to offer the best things that gets the biggest return on investment from their alumni. That's just how they do business. So if you're not in that alumni group and whatever you're in and that's giving money back to the school, they could give two flying fucks about you. Mm-hmm. And I like to use that in a live setting just to set the tone of what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, as far as loans, yeah, I got between all the military is what paid for my bachelor's degree, my GI Bill. But my associates came out of pocket with a student loan. I was young too. The money I got for GI that I should have used to pay for the school, I put it in my pocket. It was a real nice check going in my bank account back in 2001. Back in 2001. I mean, that was just a good check. But then I learned after that, you go get your bachelor's. Like I said, GI Bill pay for that. And so really having a master's degree, I have a student loan of about $30,000 maximum. That's it. I pay about $200-300 a month. That was an investment on my career, but I'm certified.
I appreciate
That's the biggest part about it.
I appreciate you sharing that. I think a lot of us would call you lucky. I know myself, I'm a little lucky in that same boat.
That ain't lucky. No, I work for that.
Yeah, no.
If anybody say that, they foolish.
We understand that, but to say you got a master's degree and only owe $30,000 is
that ain't luck.
No,
that is lucky.
But
my bachelor's degree, I got like 22 right now.
Well, I'll say this. Like I was saying, it's an investment.
On, baby.
Well, like I was saying before, it's an investment, right? So you don't just blindly, like if somebody's like, hey, on the side of the road, hey, give me $30,000 and I'm gonna get you a job. You're probably gonna want to do some research, check some references and things like that. And we just not conditioned coming out of high school to do that. We're not conditioned to approach college that way. You conditioned.
I like the way you
go ahead.
said that. Do you think that coming out of high school, individuals are prepared to know anything about their financial profile as far as coming into adulthood and actually managing your finances and being able to make those decisions.
Not everybody.
So
Not everybody.
so I'll put it like this, right? The main driver for most people to go to college is teachers in school, right? But if you think about it, before you go to college, you went through elementary school, you went through middle school, you went through high school. How many of y'all took a class on finance, a class on business, a class on money management, a class on mental health, any of those things that going to college and getting a bunch of student loans and not being able to get a job to pay it back affect?
Yep.
Like those are things that, like, if you're not money smart, you won't look at college as an investment. You won't look at it as, they'll show you the interest rates and, how they compound and how they, you won't be able to understand what that is. And also you got to recognize that student loans, they don't want you to pay it back. That's not what it's designed for. They're designed for you to be owing them money for 20, 25 years.
Yep.
They just want the money on the books. So it's certain financial concepts that I think that you have to, like, they aren't presented to you in the course of your education.
Right.
So you'll
Well,
never
you
be
shouldn't
prepared.
be a 17-year-old signing student loan papers. Anyway.
That'd be nice. You
Well,
would
let
think
me-
that because
If
the
you
thing
signing
is, you
student
can
loan
sign.
papers by yourself at 17, you got a problem.
Well, see,
You
I
already got a
think,
problem.
I think a lot of parents, especially the generation, our generation, I'm not so sure about the kids born in the 90s, but I know our generation, most of our parents didn't go to college. I mean, and it was probably that generation, our parents, the generation before us, that actually started going to college. They were probably some of the first people to really, like, in masses go to college. But our
Right.
generation, a lot more going to college. So a lot of people, parents wasn't even aware to educate you on that because they
Let me speak on
didn't.
let me speak on that real quick. So
Yep.
that's kind of where I'm coming from in regards to college. I'm a first generation graduate for my family. So my parents didn't graduate. My grandparents had an 8th grade education. My parents had a high school education. So I'm the first generation of college graduates. Well, as a 17/18-year-old who's thinking about going into college, when you have parents who didn't go to college, it's hard to go to them talking about financial aid, talking about student loans, because they have no idea. They've never, they didn't have to, do it. So when you get approached with a counselor or somebody telling you, okay, these are loans that you can get into to get into college, as a parent, they're just saying, well, we're just going to try to do what we can to get you into college because that's what we think you should do. For me, I thought that I was going to be an optometrist. That was my dream occupation. Well, of course, being an optometrist takes a lot of years of college. I really didn't know what I was getting into going into college. As far as the counselor goes, the counselor at my high school never really approached us as far as, and I didn't know to approach her. So she never really approached us on, okay, we got these type of scholarships you can apply for. There were literally scholarships that were just sitting there waiting for somebody to apply for them. But like I said, nobody knew of them.
I can agree with that.
Right. So as far as is college necessary? Okay, so I have a 6-year-old son. For me personally, my approach to his life so far has been parenting him to become a owner. So in being self-employed, everything that I talk to him about is about being self-employed. I want him to be his own boss, not some guy to just go to college and and get a degree. That's kind of, I don't know if you guys have read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, but that's kind of the concept of the book. Where one dad goes to college, does a traditional route, gets a job, works 30 years of his life, and then retires. Whereas the other dad takes more risk, does things that are unconventional. That's kind of how I'm training my son to be. Now, if he wants to go to college, that's all well. But for me, in my opinion, I would much rather him focus on starting his own business, being his own boss, learning the ins and outs, doing the research that I didn't know to do or didn't know how to do, to be his own boss, and own his own empire without college. If you don't have to go to college in order to be successful. It's not needed. It's not needed at all. That's my opinion.
That's true
with that.
Well, let me jump in for a moment.
All right.
Because what you just said is something a lot of people say. Because my wife was like that. I'll say, hey, what do you want to do? And she'll say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I say, an entrepreneur doing what? And she said, I just want to run my own business. And I'll say, well, what kind of business? And she'll go, I don't know. I said, but listen, you can't be a boss unless you know what you're doing with whatever it is you're running.
Yeah.
And so I told her the same thing. So no matter, the same thing I do, I would love, this is the thing, right? Sacrifice. I like when you brought your son in, because with children, we're going to have to make a sacrifice at some point. Mm-hmm. So if I have to sacrifice $200,000 in Dr. B and MD loans for me, in order to make sure later on they don't have that issue and have to get those loans, then I'm perfectly fine with that, because I'm creating a life for them and a standard for them that I didn't have, and opportunities for them that I didn't have. What we do is we'll look and say, oh, well, I don't want to go through the rigmarole. I don't want to go through the hard work. And then we expect our children to go through the hard work, even though we did. So you set the standard. And so you're right. Yeah, be a business owner, but be great at what you do. So when you own that business, right, you're great at it and you maintain ownership. Yeah. Otherwise, you just running around opening up and closing stuff. And that's not stability and security that you want. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's the same thing with college. If you're gonna go to learn something in order to eventually own your own or do your own thing. Be great at what you do. That's why I don't work hard, because I'm great at what I do.
Yeah, I'll say that as far as owning a business, and this is a whole nother aspect of it, but there is the business of starting businesses, growing them, and selling them. So that is a business within itself. It's not, I think that the entry level is finding something you're passionate about and then become your own boss. That's great. But there's another side of that. Of course, it takes a lot more, capital to do stuff like that. They're called venture capitalists. But if you look at the Ivy League schools, they aren't accredited. And the reason why they aren't accredited is because they learn so much other stuff that trying to teach them what we learn in college at our accredited institutions would be a waste of time for them, because they're actually taught about business, about finance, how to run businesses and be CEOs and, stock markets and things like that. You can be a PhD and never take any classes on finance, never take any classes on your own business or anything like that. And so the idea that, college is going to, traditional college will even prepare you for owning a business, like Judge was saying. Those are two different avenues. But as of right now, it's something that you have to pursue on your own. But like I said, owning a business is something that you're passionate about, because that's how my wife is. Like, her dad owns a tow truck company, and he's not necessarily passionate about towing folks' cars, but he likes the freedom, and it allows him to make more money, set his own work schedule and stuff like that. He works hard. I think that's a misconception a lot of people have about owning their own business. You gonna work.
Yeah.
Ain't no vacation, ain't no putting up no gone fishing signs, and you still making money when you start your own business. So I think if you have the right preparation, that business ownership is a great tool to like live a lifestyle that's, probably unattainable if you're working a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
which
I
is
say
what they're
that's
gonna
that's
teach you in college.
well, I say that's how I look at at raising him as far as college goes. So for me, his his uh his days in my house, as I would say, up until 18, um, I view those years as years for me to prepare him for this particular entrepreneurship. And what I mean by that is instead of focusing so much on let's do this so that you can get to college, I'm focusing more on okay, let's find this summer camp for coding, or let's find this summer camp for some type of IT for kids, where it's generated just for kids. So I'm planning the foundation there so that he has the skills to do his own business in whatever it is that he
That's right.
falls for.
Right.
In
I
that
like
aspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Now
that.
that's something my wife and I have talked about as well. Is definitely doing exactly what you said. Well, Reggie, is finding out something that our kids can enjoy, to where they can actually control their income, understand how to reinvest the income into their own company. Eventually, when we do start having kids, I would like for my children by the age of 12 to at least be mowing yards, washing cars, or something. Understanding work, money. If you spend your money, that's on you. But if you reinvest your money into things in which you need for your company, then that's going to help you grow, help you to understand your finances and grow from there. Because some of these things in which we're talking about now, I wasn't taught that as a child. And so I want to make sure that the kids that we have and the kids that I mentor have some of these same things that we're talking about now, so they can actually get over that hump where their parents are right now. Because if our generation needs to be the ones to help promote that change, because if not, we're going to continue to be stagnant.
That's right.
Yeah, there's too many resources out here now, man. It used to be
Right.
those are secrets, because they used to tell,
Mm-hmm.
what do you tell poor people? Go to college,
Exactly.
get a job working for somebody else. Your manager ain't never came to you be like, hey, man, I got this great opportunity for you to not have to work here no more. That's not his job.
Right.
His job is
Right.
to get you to do the most work for the least amount of money so they can stay
It's amount of
under
pay.
budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you
But
got to
now,
treat yourself like it's your business as well.
Yep.
I
yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
you're supposed to treat yourself like a business. You invest
Yeah.
in yourself. You nurture yourself.
That's right.
If you don't,
yeah,
That's right.
you can't do it for somebody else.
That's true.
yeah, definitely.
That is
Because
true.
right now, the biggest issue I have right now is, savings accounts. If you look at the return on the savings account, man, they paying you like percentages of a penny
Mm-hmm.
on your money. They're not even
Yep.
keeping up with inflation. But if you turn around and you ask to borrow some money, I got an email the other day from Wells Fargo talking about a vacation loan, 8.9%. I'm like, what? Are y'all serious right now? You got to
Oh
be
yeah.
kidding me.
Oh yeah.
Like what can I do to get 8.9% on my money? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's set up a doggone partnership or something like that, to where I can start getting some returns that's worthwhile, and that where my money not going to depreciate sitting in your bank.
Yeah.
But like I say, that's it's a lot of money and financial things that we don't learn, because like you say, our parents, if your parents went to college, they sure probably weren't going for finance and money and stuff like that. And if they didn't go, they definitely don't know about it. If you got into college, they just happy. That's the celebration. You ain't even took a
Right.
course yet. That's excitement. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. We definitely gotta be the generation that shapes that change,
Right.
because that's a lifestyle impact, man. Like, you gonna live a totally different life. Imagine if you went to college and graduated and had no student loans. You in the whole
Right.
you living like somebody in a whole different tax bracket.
Yeah,
So is.
absolutely.
So is.
So
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for your input on that subject. If you guys watching have any other follow-up questions or want to ask the panel, go ahead and leave a comment. We're gonna move right along. the other day, I believe it was Tuesday. No, Monday. It was Monday. There was a bombing in Manchester, England. And it happened right outside of Ariana Grande's concert. Uh, this was obviously ISIS claimed responsibility for that attack. Uh, and I want to know you guys' thoughts. Being over here in the U.S., what's your thoughts on that? I heard it was 19 or 22 people died. I didn't catch
I
that.
think it was 22.
Yeah, I think it was 22 people died. Some of them being young children. What do you guys think about that and the kind of climate of the world as far as they responding to that, and what you think is going to happen going forward with the U.S.? How is that going to affect us? Go ahead, guys.
I can go first. Um, I think I want to go back to 9/11 because I remember when 9/11 happened. I was in music appreciation class my freshman year in college. I at first I didn't understand what it was because I've never witnessed anything like that in my lifetime. Especially me being old enough to be aware of what something like that could be, right? Um, and then as years pass, we continue to see certain things like that happen over and over and over again. And so for the world in which we live in and the technology age in which we live in, um, I don't know if I can say or ask the question, why can't we stop it or why can't we prevent it? Um, because if we got drones that could shoot somebody from elsewhere, you know, could they pinpoint something or could they use, I don't know. I'm not military, so I don't know what all goes in that type realm. But I look at it as is that it appears um, certain places are targets at certain times, and um, something always will come from it. I know a couple years back when gun control was like first initially, brought into play.
Right.
And so, and then we also have the TSA, you know, um, to check people from coming on planes with, all type of artillery and weapons and things like that. Um, I'm just still confused about all of it because I feel like me growing up where I grew up at, like everybody that I knew was loving. So why would anybody want to harm anybody else? What's the purpose of it? What are they getting out of it? What are we trying to get out of it? Um, and of course, watching what's that Fahrenheit 9/11? Um, I forgot the guy's last name, Michael something, whatever. Um, and me understanding some inconsistencies with things, it kind of formulated my conspiracy theory type thoughts then. And so I took a class in social theory. And so my social theory professor was very instrumental with trying to bring up these different topics and the faults in certain occurred. Um, that's my thing. I don't like. I just can't understand like why someone would do that or even set it off, or if it was planned by the government, why would they do that to their own people? That's my thing.
Well, I'll just say because I think that my opinion is, sometimes something is just a little too soon. I think my opinion might be too soon. Um, but I'm a person that's very I don't always take things at face value. So I'll just put it that way. So as far as the event go, and just like any event, I first off would just say, I feel sorry for those people and what happened. Um, But as far as the actual event and just speaking on what happened, I think it's just best, since we're talking about it now, to hold judgment on my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's fair enough. I mean, all the facts haven't come out.
Right.
We know it was an act of terrorist, a cowardice act. And we do know that ISIS has taken responsibility for that happening. Judge, you're a military man, got a military background. What do you think on that?
Got a phone call. You know what? I mean, the bombing has nothing to do with that. It's some people who, and I hate to be sounding conspiracy theorists,
Hey,
but I think it's some people.
I'm right with you.
I think it's some people who are trying to see a so-called Armageddon. That's what I think it is. But at the same time, it's a bunch of rich people trying to get richer, and they don't mind killing people in order to do it.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. Because the people who's running ISIS aren't poor. We know that.
Absolutely.
Right.
Just like we know, so just like Bin Laden was a multimillionaire, you know, these multimillionaires. But they're easily able to manipulate people. Now it's unfortunate that, you know, these people are running around and they're killing people in the name of their Islamohood or whatever they want to call it. That's something unfortunate, but you know, that's something that's been going on forever. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But you got to also understand, over in Europe, the way they treat Muslims is, I think, something that needs to be brought to light that I don't think people talk about a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've been doing this for years and years and years, you're pissing off offspring. For example, the two people that did the bombing, quote unquote, were under 25, right? So these were young people. So how can you turn a young person into just going in there and blowing themselves up, unless one, you force them to do it, or, you know, this is something that they're just pissed off at the Europeans for whatever.
Yeah, we've seen more and more terrorist attacks in European countries. I mean, we have France a couple times recently, in recent memory, were two big attacks, and we have England. So, I mean, all those are European countries. Definitely seems to be something there. I don't know what it is, and I don't really have a great opinion on who's behind it. I know whoever is behind it, like you said, have a lot of money. ISIS is not.
But I wonder.
They are funded.
I wonder if and this is something I always talk about with my wife and stuff like that. Like, I wonder if information will finally come to light. Like, we'll finally find out what really happened, you know, with a lot of these attacks and who was behind certain things. Because just like the guy from, you know, that was trying to put out the information about the US and stuff like that. So I wonder if that will happen in our lifetime. Like, will we ever actually find out, like, what was the entire plan about these things?
Well, I think with technology growing as it is, I mean, eventually some more and more stuff comes out. More and more stuff is less private, less secret. It's a lot harder to be confidential with information just because of how it is obtained and how the world is connected. So you get a lot of you got a lot of things coming to it. So I mean, who knows in 20 years, 50 years, or whatever, how we'll be connected and how easily it will, or how difficult it will be to keep things under wraps.
Let me say this. As far as the media goes, I don't mean to sound like Donald Trump when I say this, but most people that don't believe in the fake news. And what I mean by that is, if you go back maybe 15 years ago, the main group that you heard about was the Taliban.
Yep.
Okay. When was the last time you really just heard somebody mention the Taliban?
Exactly.
Oh, it's always
It-
it's a revolving door of terrorist cells. You had
All
Al
right, so
Qaeda, you had
There you
right,
go.
so right.
Taliban, you
So
had
let me finish
ISIS.
that point. Let me
Yeah.
finish that point. So it was Taliban, then it went to Al Qaeda, now it's ISIS.
But they're all
It-
considered.
right. So they're all considered terrorists. So my point is, I don't know if y'all, and I keep bringing up books, but I don't know if y'all have read the book George Orwell's 1984. Well, the main part about that book was that your TVs could like watch what you were doing. Your TVs could like basically your TV was driving your opinions
Mm-hmm.
and driving how you thought. So
Yep.
for me, our media, it's just posing a question. What if our media, what if all that is staged?
So the
What
media,
if, and I know
you're
it's a
saying,
conspiracy theorist, but what if all that's just staged? What if all, I'm not talking about this particular event, but I'm meaning like
But some.
the talks about, yeah, about the Taliban, Al Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, with Saddam Hussein,
Mm-hmm.
I can remember as a kid they were talking about how he had people who had gotten surgically repaired to look similar to him so that he could go to certain places and disguise himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that he was this big person in the world, and then they find him in a hole, in a 3-foot hole in the ground, dirty, and
Right.
it's
Looking
like,
like
come on,
crap.
man,
Yep.
looking like crap. And to me, it's like, all right, man, you can't just bullshit me like this and think I'm just gonna believe it. Like something don't add up there. So when it comes to the news,
Central banking system.
right, I just kind of keep my eye don't automatically go to just let's just believe on what the news is saying when
well,
it comes to this type of stuff.
we all know that the media has agendas. You see it on
Mm-hmm.
all the different news stations.
Yep.
The media has funding from
And
different
governments too, yeah.
political organizations, and governments fund different things. So they have agendas they're pushing. This is known. This is fact. There's not really a debate about that. There's a couple news outlets out there that try to keep it 100, but we all know that if you're getting paid by somebody, uh, you're pretty much at their will.
Yeah.
Uh,
You're getting paid to tell it their way. Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
we know that there's agendas to be pushed. That goes without saying. As far as the conspiracies go, we don't know. Nobody knows, and it's hard to, unless something comes out. It's hard to even go off of that. Now, everything you guys are saying could actually be true. It could be some truth to all of that stuff. Uh, but like I said, until something comes out, or you have an Eric Snowden or somebody like that who has to hide out in Russia
Yeah, that's the guy. Mm-hmm.
because he can't come back to the U.S. And some people branded him a villain. Some people brand him a hero,
Right.
depending on how you look at things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that you really, it's hard to touch on just because of that, but you can only report on what you see, and
Right.
you can only go off of what you see, and this is what they give us.
Right.
We aren't a news outlet, but we will have opinions and discuss things that we have feelings on and thoughts about. So I thank you, gentlemen, for your opinions on that. Eric Tech, did you want to say anything? I know you had cut out for a second there on the bombings in Manchester. I don't think we have audio, but we'll move on here. We're going to talk a little bit about the arms deal that happened a couple days ago. Uh, as everybody knows, Donald Trump went to Tel Aviv, uh, and there was an arms deal that went down with Saudi Arabia. Uh, Judge, you wanna kick things off about this, and what that deal actually mean uh, to us as Americans, and what that means to Trump and what he's doing versus what he's saying.
That's a good way to put it. So here's the bottom line, right? There's a, I don't know, $10 billion arms deal that the president supposedly negotiated with Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing: the government doesn't do weapons deals. They just don't.
Yeah.
The government doesn't make weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody tracking?
Yeah.
So if you're not making weapons, how are you doing an arms deal? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're getting the arms deal in place for the people who make the weapons. And we all know Mr. Multi-billion-dollar Trump is in cahoots with all of the gun manufacturers and all of the other people that's involved in doing this type of work. So really what he just did was got his buddies $10 billion from a whole nother country.
There you go.
So when you've got people who are running around, so what you got going on right now is Ron Paul and a few of the other legislators are trying to figure out how to block this. It's actually a $110 billion weapons deal. Okay, $110 billion. Now, again, this isn't American. This isn't you and I money, taxpayer money. He's got this deal going between them and the gun manufacturers or the weapons manufacturers, which are the companies who make the weapons or whatever kind of weapon it is.
Right.
So, but it ain't the U.S. government. That's first and foremost. And it's supposed to be giving this to the military, and it's supposed to have something to do with the Yemen war and the civil war going on in Yemen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. When you got someone who knows nothing about these types of affairs, who comes in and does business-like deals, but they're not doing it for political reasons, nor are they doing it on behalf of the United States citizens, you're going to have a problem, okay? You're going to have where now the people who we were afraid of, which is the big-time money people, engaged in international arms deals, and it's made to look legal.
Mm-hmm.
You got what I'm saying?
Yep. They did a movie about that. Guys of War, I think.
Yeah, but this is different. Yeah, this is somebody else. This is actual president doing it. Right in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is where, you know, even if you're against Donald Trump or against the administration or against Republicans or conservatism or if you're for it, you got to be against this right here because you know the Saudis had something to do with 9/11. That's automatic. So you automatically giving them $110 billion contract to give them weapons? Why? When you know that they arming the militants.
So a lot of news outlets are talking.
This is coming from Politico.
Yeah, a lot of news outlets are talking about this, and Yemen has come up quite a bit. That's supposed to be the new hot area. Yemen's supposed to be the new Syria, is what I'm hearing. A lot of people say.
And let me jump right there, Joe. When you're talking about Yemen, you're talking about Yemen, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Israel,
that whole area over there.
Syria, that whole area. And when I tell you, if follow the money and then follow the people who's doing stuff and watch what they do. And if you act like you don't see it, your ass deserves to die along with the rest of them.
Yep.
They're trying to start a quote unquote Armageddon because they truthfully believe that there's somebody coming out the sky to help them. And the only way to do it is you got to help them out. Kick this shit off. That's what they're going to do. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. That is true. War makes money for all countries involved. So, and they don't care how many casualties they have. They just care about the dollar amount they're going to get.
Yeah. Long as it don't come over here. And then if it does, they got a reason to beef up the military and send our ass over there.
Mm-hmm.
You laughing.
Like, when was the last time war happened in the U.S. soil? That was 2 centuries ago, right?
Yeah. You're dealing with a lot of warmongers, man. A lot of warmongers. They love war.
Unless you count Pearl Harbor.
Well, yeah.
That was probably the only time. But as far as war on U.S. soil, the only war we've had is the Civil War.
The Civil War, yep.
And that was against ourselves. So that we hadn't had a war since we've been the United States of America.
That's right. You haven't had a war on U.S. soil. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's all financial, but you know.
They
All
keep
right,
fucking
then.
around over there. It's gonna be one.
It's coming. It's coming.
Tech, you got anything? Oh, Tech's mic is out. So I think that does it. Those are the topics we had today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank the panel for being here and providing their insight. Thank you guys. Anybody else, if you're watching, if you have any other follow-up questions or want to challenge anything that we've said here, we encourage it. Leave a comment. All Sides Media. Again, this has been No One Can Agree. This is episode 1. Stay tuned. We'll be posting new things weekly and be on the lookout for new shows to arrive. Thank you guys. I want to thank the judge. I want to thank Alan. I want to thank Nino, and I want to thank Tech for being part of this panel. And we are out of here.
Just so you know, we agreed too much today too. So.
Yep, a lot of agreeing.